Okay, so I was toying around with posting the Corvair on Craigslist, and that got me thinking, what should someone look for when buying an old car? Because personally, I think it's a lot different than buying a new car, and a whole bunch of people get scammed out of it. So we got a few things to talk about.
Okay, so there's the generic things. The engine, the transmission, the drivetrain. There's the paint. There's the brakes. There's the fuel. There's the suspension, underside, driving the car, and the appeal, really. Alright, so first things first. You walk up on the car. If it's not in the spot where it's usually stored and the car has already ran and been driven, that's a bad sign. They warmed it up. You want to check a car when it's cold. Typically I'll text the guy before coming to look at a car. I'll say, if you start it, I'm not going to buy it. If you move it, I'm not going to buy it. Okay? So, first check the fluids when it's cold. The oil, and then power steering, brake, radiator. You check the trans fluid when the car is on, idling, and in neutral. So, alright, so you go to check the oil. Pull the dipstick. I'd assume that the oil would be clean, because they're an idiot if they don't do an oil change before they sell the car. But wipe it off. Stick it back in so you get an accurate reading. Pull it out. So if you look at it, she's good. She's right in between add and full. But where you want to look is up the stick. There's no discoloration, there's no tarnish, and that would show if the car's been run without oil changes and it's been poorly taken care of. You know, they didn't change it and they've been really pounding on the car. But if you really look up here at the top, you can see there's a little bit of carbon buildup. Now the carbon, both on the dipstick and the oil cap, will show the inside condition of the engine without looking at it. There's a little bit of flakiness, you know, and that's from the rings. The rings are getting a little worn out. Carbon is being built up with the pistons. And, you know, a lot of people do engine dress-up kits. And when they do that, you really got to check, because they're trying to make the car look better. But, again, there's a little bit of carbon down here. But if they replace parts like the air cleaner to make it look better, that's understandable. If they replace the dipstick, the oil cap, you know, they're trying to hide something with the carbon. So if it's cleaned, you can tell they scratched the carbon off, or it's straight up replaced with something shiny. Stay away from it. Alright, boys and girls, check the radiator when the car has not been started yet, or when it's not running, for obvious reasons, unless you want to look like you got your face ripped off by an ape. But okay, that's a little let's see if we can focus it. A little embarrassing. My fluid's brown. I need to flush the system, but there's no debris in there. You know, there's no chunks. You can also check the overflow. Now the overflow is green. I don't know if you can see that, but we're good down there. No chunks. There is some green fluid, but there's brown mixed in. We're good. The guy isn't hiding anything. Okay, brake fluid. We can get her open. That's embarrassing again. I need to bleed my brakes. Fluid's brown. It's not generically a bad sign, but it needs to be flushed. New brake fluid is clear, not white, but clear. So brown is just old. It's dirty in the sense that it's not filled and gummed up, but it needs to be flushed and changed. So that's something I need to work on if I was going to sell the car. Okay, now let's take a look at your belts. Don't start the car if there's cracked belts, old belts, or missing belts. But here, we've got worn belts. They're new, they're still riding on them. They aren't too dirty, but we're not gonna break anything or risk anything or get our face whipped with a belt if we start the car. So we're good. Okay, when I say that you wanna see the car where it's been sitting and not moved, this is why. If they have an oil pan or a piece of cardboard, that's good unless the oil pan has been cleaned off. But if it's on bare ground, make sure that no cat litter has been thrown on top of oil stains, that everything is there. And generally you can tell where a car's leaking from by just going up from the oil stain or the trans stain straight up to the car. But I have cardboard and this is what you can see. I got a leaky transmission. Okay, so we're done in the engine bay. I believe I got the most important parts. I bet I missed something, or I bet I could have gone further, but you got the basis of it. You learned some things, yeah, whatever. So before you look at the car, usually I ask the people about, you know, current registration, if it's registered, if it's passed inspection, if what's the title looking like. I ask for the VIN. Run the VIN. Usually the VIN will tell you exactly what's in the car from factory. It'll tell if it's been changed, but you can also see if it's been, run the Carfax. Has it been in any incidents, you know? Another way to look at it when you're by the car is this way. Bring a magnet. Check for Bondo. So just go down the car, you know? Check as much as you want. Magnet sticks everywhere that I'm hitting. Of course, I know that there's no body work that's been filled with Bondo, but we're good. Yeah. Okay. Now, before starting the car, you could go under it, check more stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to stick that camera under the car. If I had a lift, I'd lift it all the way up in the air. Not going to do that, obviously. You can trust me. Look for stains, additional stuff. You can look at the tires, but I mean, tires are tires. You got to replace them if you got to replace them. That's just more money in your pocket if you don't have to.
Nice car.
Thank you. You can look at interior before you start it. We can do that. You know my interior. We got cracks in the seats. I'll show you that. Then you start the car. You watch the gauges. Check exhaust leaks. And then what I do sometimes is I have side pipes. I got dual exhaust. You check the exhaust output on one side, on the other side, make sure they're even. That'll tell you if you're running on mismatched cylinders. Okay. Interior. Old cars, upholstery is probably going to be like that. It's understandable. Carpet's dirty. It's whatever. Okay. Another thing. Dashboard, probably warped. Maybe cracked. Yep. You want to check the gauges. You know, if they don't work, they don't work. My clock doesn't work. These middle gauges don't work. So, you know, I did the oil, the water. And, yeah, let's start the car. Alright. She's factory. She's old. She's not going to start up like a new car. So what you do, pump the gas. I usually pump it twice, maybe 3 times, and hold it. And then you click it, and let's turn her over. Okay, it's okay if you don't get it first try. Okay, our gauges, oil pressure's going up. We aren't drowning it up, we aren't too high. Water temp will take a while for it to, you know, fill up. Again, those gauges don't work, but that's okay because we've got aftermarket. Speedo won't do anything. We don't have a tack. But yeah, okay. Another thing. AC. Does it work? Yes. Okay. Radio. Yeah, works. Okay. We're good. Interior wise, headliner is okay. Another thing I forgot to tell you is when you're looking under the car, check the floor pans for rust. See if you can see the insulation or the carpet through the floor pan. If you do, you got to replace the floor pans. It's whatever. But Yeah, let the car idle, step outside, check exhaust, and then take it for a drive. Alright, oil pressure has dropped. We're good to go. Gauges look good. We're at 150. Usually, watch it by the end of your drive. If it's above 180, should be normal. If it goes past 200, it's got cooling issues. So, but anyway, yeah. Before you start driving, go through all the gears while you're parked. Reverse, neutral, drive, second, first, yeah. And keep in mind you're driving someone else's car. You haven't bought it yet, so it's not yours. But you want to get it up to as fast as you can go. Check low speeds, high speeds, right turns, left turns. So we're going to go right. Does it shift through all the gears? Yes. Okay. Let go of it. Accelerate. Does it stay straight? Yes. Okay. Brake. Does it stay straight? We're good. Okay. Someone cuts you off like this big truck. We're stopping. We're fine. Lights work. We're good. If it was manual, you check the clutch. More so, how does it shift? As she gets up and goes. Solid car. If it was me, for the right price, I'd buy it. For what I have into it, no, I wouldn't buy it. Suspension feels great. I mean, it's an old car, so it's a little bit stiff, but we aren't bottoming out, you know. Exhaust was good. I checked for leaks. There's pinholes, but that's fine. Alright, so now we are going to check the VIN on the El Camino. I put in classic car VIN decoder and checked before. This one works. Go down here, enter our VIN, and okay, so it shows 1983. That's right. It's an El Camino and it's a base model. Okay. Regular cab, pickup, 2-door, perfect. And it originally came with the 3.8 liter V6. So, yeah, it's been changed. Now it's a 350 V8. 5.7 liter, I believe. But, yeah. So, that checks out. No accidents. I know that. Yeah. So, we found this Corvair. Looks great. Let's read the description. 1965 Chevy Corvair Monza, 93,000 miles, gives us the VIN, number of cylinders, it's an automatic. Okay, let's see, original white interior, engine and transaxle, but it has one repaint, says 65 to 69. Let's see, it says what rust and dents it has, a driver, both fenders, 1/4 panel. We'll see if they documented that. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. They're being straightforward. Tells you slant 6, modeled after a Porsche Boxster engine, dual carb, 2-speed automatic. It's currently registered with Antique and has a clean title. Says how he bought the car, what he's done to it. See, interior wise, small tears in the driver's seat, no radio, has speakers. Says a little something about the telescoping steering wheel and how much it's worth. So, interior, yeah, original interior, looks good. Has some wear and tear. There are the tears, yeah. And let's see. Yeah, you can see no radio. Okay. Car is very unique. No beep. Yeah, cool car, whatever. Yeah, so he shows the engine, both sides of it. Pretty straightforward. There's the trunk of the car. Surface rust, that's not bad. But yeah, he gives all around photos. good. And then, let's see. Put a link in there, and look at that. More photos of the car. Okay, that's when I first bought the car. That's what it looked like. That's the day I bought it. That's the day it got home. It's after the first wash. Oh, video of it running. Okay. Let's see. There's all three of the cars. Yeah, perfect. So honestly, that is straightforward. I could have put a little bit more information in there, but yeah, I mean, price is way too high. I put this up here just, tire kicker offers. I don't want to sell it, but I'd sell it for $8,000. So if anybody tries and buys it, happy to sell it for way more than it's worth. That reminds me. So if we go to Haggerty, what is it worth? Okay, so let's search. So we have a, where is it? Chevy Corvair. It is a Monza 1965, and it is a sport coupe. Let's see. So average value $7,000. Gives you photos, description of it. This is always my favorite to use. Okay, so 18,000. That's fully restored. Nothing's wrong. It would win a competition, whatever. Then it gives you good, excellent, and fair. Fair is not running. It's garbage. It gives you descriptions of each. Excellent. So somewhere in between 11 and 4. That's a big difference, but again, I'm not trying to sell the car. But yeah, we've seen what they go for. We've seen an impressive amount of documentation. And yeah, I'd go and check this car out. I wouldn't buy it because it's way too much. Another thing to add. When buying a car, don't be afraid to lowball. The worst they can say no is no, and you can always come up, and this is priced for $8,000. Good thing to have an idea of is you can always take 25% off of that cost, and usually that's how much I buy cars for. So I would pay $6,000 for this car. So that's listed today. Take 25% off, and that's $6,000. Yeah.